Oh, hi there. Welcome to Shogi in the West, an English language podcast for active Shogi players and Shogi learners around the world. In this podcast, we focus on the topics and the people that matter to those of us outside Japan trying to find our way in this game, this great and beautiful game. And this is the second episode, and I am absolutely blown away by the response to the first. I don't take any credit for it. I don't think it's in any way due to any ability of my own. But I think what this shows to me is the pent up demand for more about this game, for more discussion, for more talking, for more content, for people wanting to engage with more than what we have available at the moment. So it's been less than 24 hours since I uploaded that podcast. It's already one of the most popular videos that I have on my channel, and I have 450 plus videos there already. And the discussion has been tremendous. No other video that I've put up has gotten this much discussion in the YouTube comments. The YouTube comments went nuts. Direct messages went nuts. Discussion on the Shogi Harbor Discord, my little room in that Discord has been incredible. So thank you, everybody. I am completely blown away, and if I do say so, it now feels like there's some real pressure on here because there are people out there who care about shogi. There are people who want podcasts about shogi, and I need to deliver. I feel the pressure to deliver. In fact, I had already recorded a second podcast at the same day on the same day that I created that first podcast. I created a second one, and I've scrapped it. I've put it in the back burner. I'll revisit the topics that I discussed in there already, but there were so many comments, and there was just so many good things came out of that first podcast that I want to address those. And I'd like to maybe take things in a different direction of where I had originally planned on going, which was basically just going into more shogi topics that we care about. Nothing necessarily regimented in terms of order. But last week's podcast was, besides the intro portion, a discussion around how large the Western shogi community is, how many quote, serious players do we have, how much interest is there in the West in shogi. And that was driven by a stream comment from a viewer in Japan looking to answer the same kind of question that we are interested in. And that type of question, I think, can spin up a lot of sub discussions, and we've had some of those. And I would just like to address some of them. A common in that I've heard it at least a few times now. A few people suggesting to look at the FISA website, and I'm sort of disappointed with myself that I didn't. This is the European Shogi Association. I brought up the European Shogi Championship / World Open Shogi Championship, those numbers as sort of a baseline number from which to extrapolate to get a sense of how big this community is, included with Brazil and United States and South Asia and whatnot. But the FISA website lists all the players, and it's quite large. It is quite large. The way that people register, I think there are factors to make this number possibly not reflect the active viewers, and this seems to be universally held among the people that from Europe that are in the channel discussing these things, that the numbers are potentially a little aggressive, or a little larger than you might expect, because in a chess loving, chess stronghold like Europe, there are going to be people who are interested in chess and that will be interested in, I hesitate to call Shogi just a variant, but interested in chess tangential games. It doesn't necessarily mean they love Shogi. It's, oh, there's a tournament or there's a club. Let me try this out. I'm a chess player. I love this. Or I'm a Go player and I want to try a new game. And so they would register for FISA and maybe play a tournament, and then you'd never quite hear from them again if they didn't have a great time, or if they just moved on to other things. There's nothing like I have played a chess tournament in my life, a single chess tournament. I have not played another one, in person here in the Bay Area. I've not gone back to another one. It wasn't because I didn't have a great time. It's because, I wanted to focus on Shogi. I can imagine the same thing happening, where someone would say, oh, I'm a chess player. I want to try this Shogi. It looks great. Oh, that was fun. That was a fun event. But I need to go back and focus on chess. My chess needs to improve. I could see someone saying that. So in the end, when we look at some of these numbers, and is in the same way as the United States, we probably can safely estimate that across Europe, there are at least 500 active players, where this 500 number is maybe what I had kind of added up together across the world before multiplying. I think you need some form of multiplier to account for what viewer Tulip had said, or used a really interesting word called invisible players. How do we account for the invisible players? The people who don't necessarily go to tournaments. And there are more invisible players, I'm guessing, at least ratio-wise. There are more invisible players in the United States than there would be in Europe, which has a strong tournament scene. Lots of tournaments, not so expensive, and more people have a chance to play. So these invisible players would be people who don't go to tournaments, possibly don't go to clubs, but maybe they play Shogi with their friends. Maybe they play Shogi at school. There's a local high school to us that has, believe it or not, they have a Shogi club. It's like a manga. The local school, the local public high school has a Shogi club. I haven't seen many of those players at the local club that is located a mile, maybe not even a mile away from the high school. I haven't seen them there, and I haven't seen them at tournaments. And I believe they play on Leash Shogi, but I don't see them. They're invisible, you might say. So they're not at the clubs, they're not at the tournaments, but they exist. So that is, I think we can take these numbers and say, all right, well, if Europe has 500 active players that are sort of known to be active, and the United States has 50 to 100 active players that we know of are active, and Brazil, I don't know what the number would be, let's just say 50 active players, we can probably, I am going to say safely, double that number. At least double that number to account for the people who are invisible to these kinds of metrics. People who just play online. They just play with other friends. They just play with family, maybe. And maybe they just consume content. That, to me, is just as important as someone playing. Someone consuming the content, enjoying the game, studying the game, reading Shogi books, doing Tsume problems. These are great, fun things. I could easily imagine someone being not necessarily a Shogi player so much as they are a student of the game. Someone who is doing puzzles every day. someone who is studying openings, even if they don't play, just trying to, and watching, say, pro games on YouTube. And I say this because I am that person these days in the chess world. Every day, let me look at my Chessable account. My Chessable account right now, I have a streak of 1,731 days. Congratulations. You have studied on Chessable every day for 1,731 days. And I'm not playing any chess, but I enjoy these puzzles. I enjoy streaks. These are little gamification things that I fall for. And I watch chess. I consume chess content. I enjoy the discourse around chess, oftentimes because we don't have much discourse in the shogi world. So I have to live vicariously through our friends in the chess world and live vicariously through our friends in the Go world, a community smaller than the chess community, but larger than the English language speaking shogi community. So these numbers, I think it means something. To me now, I'm actually even more positive or more optimistic about where our shogi world in the West may be heading, because these numbers are bigger than I had thought. Definitely bigger. And they're still, by no means are they massive. And if someone could write a book and sell one to every single player in this, if we say there are 1,000 active players, you could sell a book and still, not you're not going to retire or anything. In the chess world, if you sold to 1/10 of the active players, you're living on an island. So you're living on your own private island somewhere. But shogi, either way, those numbers are tremendous. There are enough to have clubs. There are enough to have tournaments to a limited extent. And there are enough to warrant the creation of more material. And again, got some agreement, got some private messages, and had some YouTube comments about agreeing with that what we need sometimes is something a little more past just the beginning stage. Don't get me wrong. We need beginning stage material. We need great beginner stage material, and we need a variety of it because everyone learns differently, and different things attract different people. But the retention of these players, I think, is a key thing that we've been missing. I'll be talking about that on a future podcast, but especially once I start going over books. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it at that, and I guess move on to the actual topic of this episode, today's episode, which again came from another comment. It came from a YouTube comment, and let me read it. It is not such a long one here. It basically, let me see here. Person says, hello. Someone playing from Peru. I'm a 2100 ELO rated chess player, and now I'm getting into this beautiful game, and I want to get good at it. Any tip somebody can give me to train myself at shogi? Thank you for that comment. As I responded, thank you very much for that comment. I had this comment, and some people ask this one on stream regularly. And since the podcast, I had 2 similar questions just sent directly to me. Something sent directly to me, I won't probably read on stream unless I get permission to read it. But this one was a YouTube comment, and it was basically the same topic as people asked. And first off, one thing I want to say about this is, again, wow, wow, using a Christopher Walken pronunciation, wow, I'm kind of blown away by the fact that this podcast comes out from this random guy, and immediately we have people jumping into it that are not what I would say are active, everyday, established players. There are people somehow, maybe the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, maybe somehow figured something out and gave it to people who are just starting out in shogi or open to these types of podcasts. But getting this made me even more optimistic. So thank you for the comment, and I think this is something that I can basically address. I've been there. I've started. I've wondered what to do, and I've gotten. Obviously, I'm not a great player. Not obviously. Not everyone has seen the stream. If anything, these numbers show me the numbers for that first podcast show me that this is not just people who know me from the stream. We have people coming in, maybe from other shogi content, or maybe from other shogi streamers, or maybe from other areas. But these are people who I think have not consumed my stream and don't know anything. So just to step back, and I am going to introduce myself in the next podcast, because like I said in the first podcast, I am going to create a sort of a prototype interview where I am going to do a self-interview. I'll interview myself in the style in which I am going to do subsequent interviews. So again, keep an eye on that. That should be next week. And if you are interested in being interviewed, it doesn't matter your rating. It doesn't matter anything. As long as you love shogi and you want to talk, you want to give you're willing to give your name, you're willing to give your face to the video, you're willing to give your voice. I'm open to it. So check it out. Hopefully next week. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, when I make comments like, as you all know, I'm not that great at this game. So it is not true that you all do not know. So I'll just mention right now on Shogi Wars, the site that I consider to be sort of my rating. My rating I consider to be Shogi Wars for a variety of reasons. I'll get into that in a future podcast. But I am 1Q. I am 1Q in 10 minutes, 1Q in 10 seconds, and that's it. Not great, not terrible. Just like in the Chernobyl movie. Not great, not terrible. My rating is a little higher in 81 Dojo, but my sample size is also much higher in 81 Dojo, and 81 Dojo is subject to some sort of rating, not rating gaming. I don't want to say it is sort of rating, but you pick and choose your opponents. It's not pure matchmaking. So for me, for a variety of reasons, and like I said, I will get into this in the future, I really look at my Shogi Wars rating. So Shogi Wars 1Q. That is it. It's not great. It's not terrible. But it is, as far as I'm concerned, I'm past the beginner stage, the pure beginner stage. So I've gone through these things. I don't have the 2100 ELO chess background as our question asker has. So it's going to be a slightly different answer. But how do you get into this game? And I've come across a lot of material over the past few years and about this subject, and the one that I consistently come back to, and I will leave a link in the YouTube notes for this. The one that I consistently come back to, where is it? I've got it on my phone here. It's I know what it is, but I wanted to bring it up because I want to go through some of these ideas. This is Killer Ducky, a variety streamer, including shogi streamer. He's a great games player. He's I believe 3 Dan AGA, American Go Association. I believe he's an expert in chess, or was in a former lifetime. He's at least Shodan to 2 Dan level player in shogi, and great mahjong player. Really good backgammon player. I've known him for a long time. I've never met him in person. But anyway, he has an excellent introduction to to getting started in the shogi world. And like I said, I will link this in the Discord. It includes like the table. There is a step-by-step study plan, and that's what I'm going to go over here now. But besides that, he has a discussion of places to play online, where to find like clubs, IRL, where to play IRL. He talks about ratings and rankings. He talks about shogi engines, and I believe he also gives some links to some physical materials like pieces and whatnot in a limited way, but he has some. So it's great stuff. It's a great resource, and when someone on stream comes on and asks these types of questions, this is inevitably the one I give. So this is one of them, and I'll get into the other one that I often also give, but I think he gets into it himself here. But anyway, in terms of step-by-step guide, let's go through this. And if you're listening and you're already an advanced player, or you've been through these stages, please bear with me. Let me know if you agree with this, if you have better ideas. Maybe he can. If you've got great ideas, I know he's willing to make changes. So give it a listen. Personally, I'm hoping that this approach of going through this type of question in the second episode is not going to put off our advanced players. I don't think it will, and I hope it won't, because I know that, speaking for myself, for these types of things, I am so starved for content. I will listen to anything if it has to do with shogi. So, for example, I mentioned this podcast last week, the Starpoint Go podcast. It's a Go podcast. And as soon as I found that, I binged it, and I continue to listen to it. Even as topics have gotten, I think, a little more dry for my taste, I continue to listen because until now, this has been the closest thing I have to a Go podcast, to a shogi podcast. Go is what I call a shogi tangential game, and they face the same sorts of issues and problems that the shogi world in the West faces. Small sample size, or small community size, relatively limited materials. They're more advanced in all of these than we are, but lack of not pros like PROSE, lack of professionals that are giving lessons, giving content, playing. You've got to often know the language of the content you're seeing. So they have these same things. But anyway, going into Killer Ducky's step-by-step plan, there is. I'll take this. It's a step. The introduction says this is a step-by-step study plan starting from complete beginner. There are many different ways to learn, and everyone has different goals and priorities. It's not important what you study or in what order. Just spend time playing and or studying. I wholeheartedly agree. The thing that I would say before any of this is always remember why you are doing this. And it's to have fun. It really is. Shogi right now is in a state in the West. And I don't feel this is being defeatist in any way. But right now, if you're a 20-something, or it doesn't matter what age you are, and you're in the West and you're playing shogi, the odds is that becoming a professional shogi player the odds are not great. The odds are not great, and I don't want to be defeatist, and I don't want to turn anyone away. Everyone in chess, they start chess and they're like, what's it going to take for me to get to become a grandmaster? People say that. So I think I expect that people are coming into shogi that same way. What is it going to take for me to become a professional? All I would say is, first, focus on the fun. This game is incredibly fun. There's a chess variant like shogi, and it's where you can drop the pieces that you capture, but you're playing with chess pieces. It's called Crazy House. Shogi, by virtue of having a little slower pieces, is not as crazy as Crazy House, but it's a crazy game. Tactics are all over. You can't play a game of Shogi and avoid major tactics. I'm not a great chess player, so I'm not going to try to talk in depth about chess. But from my experience of playing chess, at a club sometimes, even though I'm not a good player, I'm not as good in chess as I am in Shogi. I did go to some chess clubs before I started streaming in 2023. I did go to some chess clubs just trying to have fun, meet people, play a great game. And I loved it. And I played a lot of games, and a lot of those games were, I think, what chess players would call dry. Just not many tactics, pretty locked up, resulting in a draw. Even at a low level, I was able to have some games like that. I believe that is simply not possible. And maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but even in what I consider to be sort of the most dry positions in Shogi, I'll get to a point that's a dry position, and I'll just make a couple random moves, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, if this player doesn't look out for this, then this nuts is going to happen. Or if the player doesn't look out for that, this nuts is going to happen. So it's like nuts are going to happen. I don't know if that's the slogan of Shogi. Nuts are going to happen. I don't think so, but it's a crazy game. There are so many possibilities and there are so many tactics. So it's and that to me and to a lot of people is what makes a game fun. That swashbuckling style where people are battling against each other, just slugfest. It can make the game incredibly frustrating, as anyone who's watched my streams can attest. It's you're swashbuckling and you're hitting everything and everything is great, and then all of a sudden you trip and you twist your ankle, and now the tactics are just coming flying at you. And this game that you thought was nigh on unlosable is now almost a dead lost game, and against you. Sometimes not almost. It is. And that's part of the beauty of the game. It's part of the chaos of the game, and it's part of the frustration. They're three sides of the same coin, I guess. Chaos, fun, and frustration. It's just that they're all the same thing. So anyway, focus on the fun. If you're not having fun, take a step back or change up your tack. Just find what makes the game fun for you and do that. So if you enjoy studying, this is going to be the common advice for Shogi players. Is not to study openings, not for a while, especially when you're starting out. And people say that in chess too, to be fair, don't study openings. But I think in chess, sometimes it does help a little. But anyway, they say don't study openings. But the thing is, if you enjoy that stuff, and you enjoy that, and your goal is to have fun, so do that. You're probably not going to become a professional. You're probably not going to be battling Sota Fuji for the next major title. You're having fun. You're learning. If you enjoy studying openings, and I do, so this is something that's important to me, near and dear to my heart. If you do enjoy that, do study those. As long as you're not under the illusion or delusion that what you're doing is the optimal. A lot of people always want to optimize their training study. They want that optimal path, and I'm the same. Sometimes it's like, I've got an hour a day or I've got an hour a week. How do I optimize this study? And I hear you, but I think what will help optimize the study better is to really, and not to be trite or just to make it sound easier than it is, or more lovey-dovey, but make the goal the fun of the game. And I think you will improve faster. Just speaking again for me, when I am enjoying the game, that means I am enjoying my studies. That means I am enjoying studying, which means I am studying, which means I am playing more. And I'm playing more, and I'm studying more, and I'm thinking about the game more, and I'm improving. When I'm frustrated, or when I'm sort of forcing myself maybe to go through the motions of things that I thought I should be doing. For example, Tsume Shogi problems or Hishi problems. These are the time-honored ways to sort of accelerate your learning. Study the end game, Tsume Shogi, which is checkmate problems where every move you make has to be a check. Similar to chessmate problems, but not quite, in that chessmate problems, there is no convention by which you have to be making where you must make a check for every move. That's not in chess problems that I'm aware of. That is what they're called Tsume Shogi. Hishi problems are brinkmate problems where you create the situation by which the next move will be an unbreakable checkmate. So you make a move, it is not check, but you do it in such a way that your next move, whatever the opponent does, is going to lead to mate. And so those are the time-honored ways to improve your endgame, Hishi and Tsume. I personally, the Hishi problems, I don't quite adore doing. I don't enjoy them as much as doing Tsume. I don't enjoy them as much as playing. I don't enjoy them as much as studying openings. I like them, don't get me wrong, and I can like them, but they can become very dry to me, to the point where I start losing track of really what I'm trying to do and what I apologize for that. What I'm trying to accomplish. And what I'm trying to accomplish is to get better, but it's also to enjoy the game. This is a hobby. This is a fun. As much as I'm spending time doing things in Shogi, this is a hobby. It's something that we should be loving to do. And sometimes I push myself to keep doing the Hishi because without fail, people will say, do Hishi, do Hishi. Teachers will say, I'll hear from someone that I know who's in Japan with a teacher, and his parent will say that this teacher is having him do constant Hishi. And that's great. That's great. But when I do that sometimes, and I overdose on Hishi, I sort of feel like I'm going through the motions, and I don't enjoy it as much. And then when I don't enjoy it as much, I'm more subject to being thrown, for lack of a better word, into tilt during a game. So if I'm not having as much fun, I feel like I'm going through the motions in my study, and then I play a game and I go up against a couple opponents in a row maybe who play a certain way or do the little things that kind of annoy me. And those little things become bigger things because I'm already in a bad state of mind. So find the fun. Long story, a long way to say, find the fun in what you're doing. This game is a blast. It's so fun. And the fun increases as you start playing with people. So that's the second thing I will say before even going into this, because it doesn't mention these. It does mention them inside the content of this study plan. But I'm going to just interrupt the study plan again to say, so besides find the fun, try to find a way to play over the board. The game is fantastic. It's a fun game, but playing with other people will almost always make it more fun, especially if people are playing with nice equipment. And nice equipment can be, to me, nice plastic pieces, nice wooden pieces, nice board. This is a beautiful aesthetic and cultural game. And to just sort of, condense it down into a two-dimensional computer board, or to condense it down into just some squares and some real cheap pieces that don't look good, I think something is lost. Personally, I'm on the fringes, I think, for this type of feeling, and most people, I believe, won't care. But for me, part of what makes shogi so enjoyable over the board, in addition to making friends and having camaraderie with your opponent, is this tactile sense of the pieces, this aesthetic beauty of the pieces, and hearing the sound of a nice piece snap, and hearing the sound of the pieces coming out of the bag before you set up the board. All these things. Seeing the shadow. I still, when we play outdoors at a coffee shop every Sunday morning. And there have been times where I'm sitting there, the sun is behind my back, there's a shadow coming across the board, there's the glow of the light, there's the pieces, the beautiful pieces, and there's shadows on each of the pieces. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like a complete nerd, I'm thinking, gosh, this game's incredible. This doesn't happen often. And I think these days more, I'm so intense on trying to play my best that I sometimes miss some of these opportunities just to be awed by the beauty of the game. But those moments do happen, and allow yourself to be open to them when you're playing over the board. It's a great game. It's a beautiful game. So anyway, find the fun and try to play over the board. Those are my pre-steps in this, in the plan. But anyway, we go on. Killer Ducky continues and says, I emphasize getting in there and playing lots of games and reviewing. Don't be shy. You can't go wrong with this advice. This is time-honored advice also for the chess world. Playing games and reviewing your games. And as time goes on, as someone who consumes a large number of podcasts, it seems even the old diehards who didn't quite hold out the belief in the number of games leading to growth. I think a lot of people are just changing their mind because there's so much overwhelming evidence that people improve by playing lots of games. And obviously, you're going to improve more if you're thoughtful or mindful during these games. But I think an argument can be made, and this is maybe a little more controversial, but an argument can be made that even if you're not 100% engaged in your game, playing these games is going to ingrain some of these patterns. To a large extent, there is the belief that these are pattern matching games, that the brain is matching patterns. And obviously, everything is not a pattern. These games are too complex to have been always played before, and we're not smart enough to always remember every position. But there are patterns to these positions. And the more experience you get, I think the better you will get. And that's what makes these games so difficult. This is a discussion that I've had in the past on stream, where someone asked basically this question, how did you get good? Or how did you get to where you are? And really, I was kind of at a loss. Because I started playing, I learned the game 15 years ago. The Shogi is a Go tangential game, like I said, and I learned, I think, of the game through the Go anime, Hikaru no Go. There's a great character. One of my favorite characters is the president of the Shogi Club in that game, or in that anime and manga. And that's where I learned of it. So I wanted to see, how do you play this game? I learned the game, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward a long time. I've really started trying to learn to get good and play the game around 3 years ago when I started playing over the board at this club where we play every Sunday morning. And where am I going with that? I think I lost track of that, but this is how to get better. So 3 years it's been since I've been playing, and I slowly, very slowly, I am not a young man. I am on the downside of development, and so I may not be as quick to learn these new things, but I think I still can learn them. But I have learned. The fact is, in the past 3 years, I have gotten better. And if you tell if you force me to say why or how, I can regurgitate things like, well, I played more games and I studied more games, but really, I don't know. I don't know. I don't, to a certain extent, I almost don't feel like I know any more than I did in the past. But I'm winning games against players that I would never have been able to even compete with in the past. So there's something happening, and it's a very strange thing, and I don't have a great way to express it. And I've heard on a chess podcast, someone trying to make this same kind of point. And they were sort of like I am, searching for ideas, searching for words, not quite coming up with a concrete idea, because it's really difficult to say what makes me better than I was a year ago. I don't know. And why have some of these lessons sunk in, whereas some have not? I don't know. So I am just going to continue to do the things that I think help, that people better than I am will say helped them. And that's what this is. And that's what this plan is. As long as we're having fun, it's going to work out. Even if there are ups and there are downs, and there, for me, most certainly, anyone who's seen my stream knows there are downs, and some pretty deep downs of really self-doubt and self-loathing and just wondering, what am I doing? What is even happening? So you just have to bear with those. But you do that by continuing to play, continuing to review. And review is a loaded word. To some people, it means completely with your brain. To some other people, it means with other people discussing. And to others, it means with an engine. And I think all three are legit. I do think to maximize your review usage, I think you have to be an active thinker, which means maybe don't turn on the engine right away. Think about your ideas and then go in with the engine. I know it's difficult. It's difficult for me. Shogi games can be long. There are many, many inflection points or possible inflection points in a game of Shogi. And it's not coming out of a game. It's not always even possible for me to come up with ideas. Like, I will come out of a game that I play on a Sunday morning that I think, God, I played great. I'll be thinking, I played great. I don't know where I went wrong. I just don't know where I went wrong. And I'm thinking about the game. I'm reviewing the game in my head before I look at the Kifu. I'm looking at the Kifu because the leader of the club records the games. It's like, I don't know where I went wrong. So I'm almost forced to look with the engine, because throw me a bone. Give me an idea. Where are some of these points? Because I'm not seeing them. So there's that. Play your games, review your games. So the plan starts out, and I don't want to go deeply into each of these, but he goes in depth to even this far. Your first 3 games. This is a guide to teach you to register on an internet site, Lee Shogi in this case. It tells you about picking your pieces, learning how the pieces move. This is it starts at that low level, and then it goes past that point. So once you play a few games, now it says the next step in the plan: time for more study. He includes some of beginner two-mate problems, some checkmate problems that he's created. And he discusses some of these ideas about handling an advantage, safest way to win, and introduces handicap games. Handicap games, loaded subject for me. And this handicap games will be an entire podcast in the future. So I don't want to talk about them too much now. But handicap games are a time-honored way to improve and to learn different aspects of the game. I just happen not to like them. So it goes through that. And then playing your first 2-minute opponents. So he takes you through that. Takes you through meeting people on the internet, mentioning the Shogi Harbor Discord. And I'm going to, just a reminder, I'm going to list this and anything I mention, Shogi Harbor, this killer ducky study. I'll list these in the YouTube show notes. And then the long haul. So it goes through that. Congratulations for finishing your first even game. So you play handicap games, you play even games. Now the long haul. In the long haul, there's resources here, but this is the thing that I think that we're missing the most in the shogi world. And I know I am not alone in missing this, in believing this. And it's not for lack of effort. It's hard. It is not to say that it's easy to come up with learning material, beginner material, but the path is well trod. You sort of know what to do, but trying to take someone to the next step, those are more difficult, and those are the things we don't have as much of, either in books or videos or shogi studies. So the long haul is you're starting to get an idea of what shogi is about. Congratulations. Keep playing games. Playing. I cannot stress this enough. I love that he stresses it because so many people don't play the games. I honestly, the shogi community, I think, maybe not as much, and maybe this is a hot take. So if anyone's a Go player, they're going to be mad. So let's get the drama going. Let's get the discussion. But so I don't think shogi players are subject to this as much as Go players, but I think they do fall into this trap of not playing games and chatting. Like they turn shogi or Go into a more of a social chatting thing, which is great. Don't get me wrong. People are free to do what makes them happy. And if this makes you happy and this keeps you a part of the community, wonderful. But it's a trap. It's a trap if you still care about getting better, because a lot of people I have found in both communities, and I imagine the chess is so big, it's such a big world, this has to happen in chess. But people sort of drift off of playing and they become like a passenger. They become a passenger on the journey to shogi, or a passenger to the journey of Go. And soon enough, the playing stops. And then maybe the interest eventually starts waning, and then they're lost to time. That happens a lot. So keep playing. Try to keep playing. Obviously don't force yourself if you're not having fun, but keep playing. Start watching. So this is advice. I have done this in the past. What I'm about to read, and he says, I have listened to these in the past. I don't watch them anymore because I've sort of honed the things that I watch. But start watching Shuji Muranaka's commented Shogi Wars games. This is a shogi professional who has a large number of his videos properly subtitled. One of the things you will quickly find out in the shogi world is that almost everything is in Japanese, and YouTube auto-translate and Google Translate do not do a good job of translating shogi. This is a very difficult thing. I've discussed this with shogi translators, and it's my understanding is that it's totally reasonable even for a human translator, a human native speaker, to not know some of these shogi words. So it's a tough problem. It's a tough problem, and it's handled poorly. So YouTube auto-translate is often miserably bad for shogi content, unfortunately. It's often, Google Translate is often miserably bad for shogi articles, in my experience. So it's rough out there, but these are subtitled by a human, someone who knows what they're doing. And he goes over a lot of openings. So you can find what you like. Solve problems. Studies about openings. Review your games. Talks about how to review your games. Talks about setting up the computer to help you evaluate your games. Talks about Lee Shogi. And then he has a bunch of links in here. So that's really it. Again, I'm going to share this in the YouTube comments for this podcast. But thank you to him for, first of all, for creating this. It's a huge resource. I don't think it gets enough eyeballs to what it deserves. So that's why, one of the reasons why I give it to anyone who asks this question. So in response to your YouTube question, I hope this kind of goes over it. I hope this I really hope this does help. And anyone else on that same stage where they're looking to get into the game, and maybe they've learned how the pieces move. So they're at maybe a little second step here. You're starting out at 2100 chess, you're going to be a good shogi player. Chess players have that just built-in advantage, and they get very good very fast. But my own personal statements around this study plan of Killer Duckies: find the fun, play over the board. The other thing I would say is to either experiment playing openings or experiment watching different openings in either Wikipedia. Look at the openings in Wikipedia. Look at the openings of these watch some pro games like Muranaka. Watch these pro games and see what resonates with you. I don't know why this is. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know why certain people are attracted to different things, but different openings resonate differently with different people. So I might watch an opening for Nakabisha, Central Rook, and I might say, that looks fun. And so I'll try it. I might see an opening of Gangi, and I might say, that looks a little more tricky. That looks like something I don't want. I'm not saying that's true because I like Gangi, but I might say that. I might say that. That doesn't look like the kind of style that I like, and the positions you get from it are not the kind of positions that I feel comfortable in. So get some experience with the various openings, pick a couple, and just stick with those. If anyone has watched my stream, they know that I started as a Nakabisha player, played almost exclusively Nakabisha, extended that in certain situations to start playing opposing rook against a certain type of player while playing Gote, the second player. And then as a way to try to understand why I was getting crushed by a particular opening, I decided to play that opening. And that opening is Urashino Ryu. And the rest has been history. I have played thousands of games of Urashino Ryu since then. And that is my opening. That is what I play. That is what I play. I can play the others and occasionally will, but this is what I play. And as far as I'm concerned, I love it. I am still loving it. I'm finding new things every single day. Every single day, I am encountering new positions in this opening that I'm frustrated by or enjoying or find interesting. And so my plan is to stick with it. I want to stick with it at least until I hit show. I'm fingers crossed. I really want to get Shodan on Shogi Wars. Personal goal of mine. We'll talk about ratings in a future episode, but personal goal of mine is to hit that Shodan on Shogi Wars. And I'm probably going to do it with this opening because I really enjoy it. So find an opening you like, which leads to the positions you find interesting, and keep playing, and keep building your end game. Because once you're familiar with your opening and you're experienced enough with the comings and goings of your opening, you don't have to worry so much about getting blown out of the water early on. It happened to me today on stream. Not going to mention that again. But for the most part, you won't have to worry about that. And you can focus on the things that matter. The tactics, the end game. You'll find that people who don't study their openings, but are great at the end game, can get to be very good. But if you're good at the opening and you're not good at the end game, you're probably not going to be very good. It's a very strange game, and it's different in that regard to chess. Not that chess isn't like that also, but it's definitely different. So those are the things. Find the fun, play over the board, pick an opening you enjoy, and then study your end games. And that's going to be it for my advice. And follow Killer Ducky's review, his guide. One other thing I will mention if you are starting out, and I believe he does link to this, leeshogi.org. I'll create a link in the description. leeshogi.org has a tremendous, as far as I'm concerned, it is a tremendous introduction to the game, starting with how the pieces move, getting into tactics, common motifs, and just stepping you up into the point where you are ready to play a game. You're ready to play a handicap game, or you're ready to play a bot, or you're ready to play a human. I really think it's fantastic. It's one of the better resources out there, and I hope it works. So again, apologies for people who wanted maybe a meaty kind of advanced subject today, but the results or response to the first podcast were so great, and this question came up multiple times from people. I thought I'd ease in with introducing this guide and this basic plan for how you begin to get involved in the Shogi community, how you begin to get involved in the game, how you improve your skills and you learn. And one other thing I'd say, don't get hung up on the pieces. You will learn the pieces. Don't go nuts trying to find the perfect international piece set that will, in your mind, let you see the board. You will see the board. There are pieces out there that show the movements that include kanji and include the movements. Use those if they're helpful. But trust me, you will learn the kanji and you will learn it quickly. If you love the game, if you're interested in how the game is played, it's just going to follow naturally. Trust me on this one. I don't usually say trust me because I don't like people to be disappointed, but trust me, you will be just fine. So on that note, thank you again, everybody, for listening. Thank you so much for the response to the first podcast. I hope I haven't let any of you down. I hope I don't let any of you down. And I'll do my best to improve. I'll do my best to bring on interesting subjects. As always, if you have subjects that you would like to be discussed, please, I have my list, but I would love to just take ideas from other people. So that's it for me. Enjoy your shogi. I will see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.